if you want, with there's not much, so it's just a sync up.
Okay. So yeah, for this meeting, we just want to give you a quick update of the things that have been changing for the last few days in this week. So first, we're gonna talk a little bit about the pull requests that have been merged this week. Finally, Murali can show us the shiny new event trigger with nuts. And yeah, that's the schedule for today. So let me share the screen for a moment so you can see the pull requests. Okay, you should be seeing my screen now. Let's start with this pull request that emerged yesterday, actually. So I want to talk about this because this is a this is a breaking change, because some of the existing functions were running as root. Basically, most of them were running as root, except PHP that was that the running user was changed to www data. That is normal for Nginx, but the rest of them were running as root, at least by default, which causes some issues. So it's a security concern, and also it's a matter of ensuring the compatibility with OpenShift that enforces to run every container as non-root. So we have changed the running user. Right now the runtimes are running with the UID 1000. That is unprivileged. Since we are using the security context for the pod, Kubernetes security context, it also affects the volumes that we were using. So in theory, the user will be still able to write in the volumes that we provide, like for example the Kubeless directory, that is an empty volume. So yeah, and this is basically all that we wanted to mention about this. Yeah, as I warned, this is a breaking change, a small one, but yeah. Once we release this, probably we will release a 0.6 because of this. Also, a minor thing that I wanted to mention is that some people were struggling deploying Kubeless because they tried to deploy the default kubeless.yaml, and they tried to do that with a RBAC cluster, with a Kubernetes cluster with RBAC enabled, and it doesn't fail. But when you try to deploy a function, it doesn't work. So basically what we did is to rename this a small renaming of files, and now the previous kubeless.yaml is now called kubeless non-RBAC, and the kubeless RBAC is now called kubeless. This is just a heads up in case you don't notice this, and when you try to upgrade, you realize that somehow it's deploying the RBAC cluster roles and so on, or vice versa. Well, yeah, this is another small pull request. Now HTTP trigger support TLS. There is documentation about that, and yeah, we will notify as well users when we release the new version. So this is everything in this side. Now Murali is going to talk about NAS support, and if we have time, I want to talk a little bit about Kong. Have been experimented out with their ingress controller. They have just released an ingress controller that is pretty useful because it allows us to work with security plugins. But yeah, let's give Murali a chance to show the NAS support.
Yeah. So let me share my screen. You can see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So okay, so the NATs support several semantics of how the messaging works, but at this point, as a first cut integration, it's this is what I've used. Basically, it's a queuing. There's a publisher publishes a message, and it's at most one delivery. There'll be multiple subscribers, but one of it will get it. I mean, it's not that important because earlier we had a scenario where each pod was subscribing to a particular topic. With the recent refactoring, that is no longer a case, but it's still semantics wise, it's just a queuing that that I have integrated with Nats queuing. I mean, it's one of the thing that's what I have integrated. Basically, you send a message, and the idea is Nats trigger controller picks up the message and send it on the function service. Eventually, it get load balanced to one of the endpoints of the function. So let me give you a quick demo of how it works. So yeah, it's a same workflow you would do with Kafka. So this make all ML will generate the manifest. So I already done that. So unlike Kafka, what I have done is Kafka manifest. If you know, it bundles the deployment of Zookeeper and Kafka parts as well. So I mean, purposefully, I have not bundled them with this manifest because there's a easier way to deploy NATs. So the manifest itself just deploys the trigger controller, the deployment of it, and then a couple of RBAC related stuff. So I'll just go ahead and apply. Okay. So as you can see, it deploys a controller which is listening to it is newly added CRD, which is basically NATS trigger. And so to deploy NATs, it's up to user how he wants to go for a just a regular casually who wants to check out. There's an easy way out to deploy on the Minikube itself, or in the production. If they have a existing NAT cluster, you could just add a environment variable into the manifest so that we explicitly use that URL. So I'm using Minishift, so I'll just go ahead and create the operator, which is what I have included in the CI pipeline as well. Basically, it uses the Kubernetes operator model. So once I deploy this, it's again a CRD controller. So it start listening to yeah. So it start listening to this particular API object. So all you had to do is just copy paste. I have included one of the manifest in the code base for CA purpose. I'll just show you how it looks. So that's all. You just apply it, and a NATS cluster gets created automatically. So as you see, this is basically a NATS cluster. Since I asked for a cluster of size, it has created a cluster with 2 NAT servers. So there's a cluster service it has created. So I'm going to, for the demo purpose, I'm going to expose it as a notebook so that I could publish messages from my host. Okay, so so at this point, there are no triggers. So what I'm going to do is I deploy a function, associate a trigger with it, and then publish a message and see how it works. So I deployed a function, and this is a new CLI to deploy NATS triggers.
Yeah,
so
I saw, Murali, sorry to cut you off. I saw that CLI currently for Kafka trigger, the CLI doesn't help you, right? You cannot do kubeless trigger Kafka create.
Yes, they're all cleaned up. I mean, they're all moved under.
Oh, you can? So you can do that?
Yeah.
Kubeless trigger
Yes,
Kafka?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, okay, cool.
it's already added. We have cleaned up quite a bit in the last refactoring.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically this is how you're saying to create a NATS trigger, and this is the name of the trigger, and this is a function selector with particular labels, and you're just telling that this is the topic. Now you should see. So this is what it looks like. It's a little details in the spec. Basically, tell this is the topic to listen to and all the functions that match this particular labels. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to publish a message, and so the pod for the function is up and running. So since I made it a node port, I'm accessing the NATs or node port. And okay, so yeah, as you can see, this is the payload. It's actually pretty straightforward. It's almost a replica of Kafka controller. I mean, luckily, we have this kind of NATS operator things which are, it made things much more easier. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I mean, it's exactly similar to Kafka. You could do one-to-n association, publish a message to one topic, and it could trigger multiple functions. So is there anything
That's
else?
great, Murali. That's great. That's amazing. I think it shows the power of the refactor because now we can add, X number of triggers using the power of CRDs. That's why we went with Kubernetes native because we can do that type of stuff. It's
Right.
just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the refactoring is actually quite powerful in sense. I mean, it just took me maybe a little more than a week to do that. And the one more interesting thing is I don't have to write it in Go language. I could use any language the function could be in different language. My trigger controller could be in a different language. Yeah, it's all, it looks elegant. So we have to see how it goes. Hopefully that will scale well. So far,
Yeah.
that's what I can see. Okay, that's it from my side.
That's cool. I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
What do you think about adding the nuts manifest in our repository, just like we do with Kafka on Zookeeper? I don't know if you.
So yeah, like I said, I mean, it's something, I mean, it doesn't add any value for us to, so like I said,
Yeah.
this is far more elegant. Like, yeah, of course, you had to visit the website and do it, but it's operator. It's just a matter of couple of commands. Like, see, for example, in the Kafka case, we just don't want to deal with all this persistent volume failures. It's hard to explain to you that it's not our problem. I mean, they have to establish persistent volumes before they use this. So I believe this is what operator has to do. Like, you know, we just use the operator, and it's the responsibility of.
Okay.
Of
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's my view.
Your opinion. Yeah.
If
It's fine.
if it's going to be very convenient, I mean, we could add that into Kubeless itself for a quick start.
Yeah, it's mostly because right now we have this CLI helper with that allows you to create and publish messages in a topic with Kafka.
Right.
I don't know if that is going to conflict with this thing, with this new event source. We may need to think about it and how to.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, let's as the review progresses, let's see if there is a value. We could definitely. It's just a matter of adding it into the report. It's not a big deal.
Cool.
Okay, great. So we have like 2 weeks to KubeCon, and I think we have a ton of great stuff to show, like the Golang support, the image builder, now the NAT support with the refactor. So we have a lot of exciting features to show. That's great. I'm very happy, and I think we just now need to go back to the documentation to make sure that all of this great work is properly documented, and maybe write a few blogs so that we can point people to to those things like Golang and NATS. I mean, those are two very, very big features. So great.
Speaking of KubeCon, are you interested to be part of this Cloud Events interoperability event they're preparing?
Yes. Can you represent Kubeless over there?
We have to see what. So I think the standard has evolved again after the last after you implemented it.
Yeah.
So there might be some adjustments needed. Yeah. So I can try.
Is there? I mean, they're scheduling a meeting.
Yes.
During KubeCon. Yeah.
Yes, there will be I think it will even be an official working group meeting. But they also want to have this interoperability event to show some really early interop. And there will be another call of the working group, I think on Monday, where they further discuss this. So how exactly or what exactly to show. So right now they are still quite open.
It would be great to participate, but I think we don't have. I mean, us like we don't have much more bandwidth because we're trying to.
Okay.
We're trying to finish, all of those features and documentation. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, if you could represent Kubeless project over there, that would be great. And then, we can help you to try to do an interrupt demo. That would be amazing.
Okay. So I see how the whole thing develops right now. There were just a few ideas floating around. Basically, you will have some kind of event producers. There were discussions what to use. Of course, all the bigger application vendors were thinking about their applications, maybe generating events, and then some of the open source tooling like Project FN or maybe Kubeless and so on would then consume the cloud events. I think Project FN, I think they wanted to announce cloud event support at KubeCon. And
yeah, but if the spec is still evolving.
yeah, it's really, I mean, well, we are closing in on 0.1, but I don't know when I think they are close to finishing this. So right now someone is really working hard to Clemens from Microsoft is working hard actually to prepare all the bindings to the different protocols. HTTP is the first, and there is right now happening a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Also for JSON, they have done some specification work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the spec is getting stable, I mean, definitely we would take a PR to modify the the function signature,
Mm-hmm.
to follow the spec.
Yeah, it's not that much that has changed. I think the biggest change was the source. It's just a URI, a single URI now, and namespace is gone basically. So that's the biggest change, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, after next week, I can maybe also help there. It's just I'm now quite busy preparing next week, and
yeah. So I'll be there next week. I talked
Yeah.
to Jorge yesterday, so I'll be there next week. So we can talk about cloud events as well next week. But what would be great is that if one of you can take part in those meetings and then say, hey, okay, here's what we need to change. I think if we know what we have to change, then we are totally willing to do it and release, but just a little bit thin on resources.
Sure. No, I plan to be there and to attend the event. So yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So I think that will be all for this meeting because well, I don't really have much time to show the Kong integration, but yeah, I will publish the docs soon, so you can take a look and see how to use Kong plugins to add some security to the function, to Kubeless function. It's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. Okay. See you, everyone.
Yep. Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Yeah.